Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you doing with your time? Looking at paint dry.
Yeah.
Mm.
I am considering just painting a wall just to watch it dry. That'd be more interesting than what's happening.
Don't slag my hobbies. Don't slag my hobbies here.
You paint the wall and then you change your mind and paint it a different color.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well,
Sit
that was
there.
the whole first lockdown over summer. Like everyone else, just redo a room, pick a room, and just completely redo it.
That's
Yeah.
literally exactly what I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope.
they like changed my bedroom, and now it's become like my cave. I appear for food and nothing else. I appear for food and to use the occasional laptop charger that's free, if it's not charging anything else.
It's mad how we actually did the same the other day. We got bored and moved the bedroom around. It's mad how much just moving things around is like.
Yeah, it feels like you're
Yeah.
doing something completely different. It's like
It's life. Yeah.
that lamp hasn't been in that corner yet. I think it's going to completely change the room. You could spend the entire day just changing a lamp from position to position. You know what I mean? I mean, I haven't been on top of the bookcase yet, so I mean that's the next place it's going to be going.
OCD will fuck you up. I swear.
Oh, stuff.
So do I call you Craig or do I call you C High?
You can call me C High.
All right.
Most people
Call me whatever you want. Don't call me too early in the mornings as you.
I knew someone would do it. Do whatever, just don't call me Shirley or whatever, you know?
Surely, yeah.
Yeah.
Airplane.
I don't know if anyone from the sound engine. I don't know if anyone else from the sound engineering course is coming or not. I was 20 minutes trying to convince them to come, but they were like,
thank
"It's
you.
Sunday and it's being recorded." I was like, "Just please go, please." Like I was like super polite about it.
I'm-
Like I said, please and thank you in the same text. Like,
That's too much. In fairness. No.
Hi, Al.
Hey, Adrian. How are you?
Are you trying to get me light right?
Yeah, I'm like right in front of the window. I can barely see anything, but it's the
Yeah.
only.
There's actually sun today. What's this?
Yeah.
Sun and
It's just a bit of hope for the future.
yeah, it's like it's daytime again. Thank God.
I think next week's meant to be actually quite nice weather-wise.
Don't
Yeah.
jinx it. Don't
Snowing
jinx it.
last week.
It was nice enough this
Today's
week.
getting a bit longer, so
It was, yeah. Like I mean, like it was breaks in between, and when you got like the break from the rain, it was actually quite nice. Like what day was? I think it was Wednesday. Was gorgeous.
Yeah.
it's mad how different, quickly it changes. So we had it was like snow 2 weeks ago in
Yeah.
Cavan. Family
Yeah.
live in Cavan. There was loads of snow, like inches of snow. Like.
Yeah.
So what's this? This a project?
Yeah. So we're not
Essentially.
doing a event production. Like, you know, obviously we're meant to do a live gig,
Mhm.
but obviously that's not going to happen this year. And anyway, so we put together a few interviews.
Steady. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
I asked, you know, Ja one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but that's my cousin.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah, it was mad. It's not like I didn't even know. I met him at a funeral, and I was like, "Are you like?" I knew I had a cousin called Jay, but I didn't know it was Ja one. You know?
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, nuts. Well, it was 3:00. Will we get started?
Shall we?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the first question, I think it's been the first question for a lot of these interviews. Is like why did you get into music? Like, why was that your chosen? Like, obviously it's your passion, like, you know, but like, what inspired you? You know?
Well, I was obviously from a very young age. I listened to all sorts of music. I was raised with good music because my parents have good taste. My dad particularly raised me on like Pink Floyd and you know, The Doors and War of the Worlds and all that kind of shit. So yeah, I was kind of just brought up with it. I never really played music or actually engaged with it until I was suspended from school for getting in a fight, and I went home, and they gave me like studying to do at home while I was suspended. I was suspended for a week, and I just didn't do any of the studying. And I sat. We moved. My family moved to Cavan, and there's a piano in the house that came with the house. So I just sat there all week and learned how to play like 3 or 4 songs on piano, and then it just actually went from there. So it was a bit of a kind of a, I don't know, it was a bit of a funny one.
So you started with the piano. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So what made you like decide to rap then? What was that?
Yeah, so I played piano for oh god, I was uploading little kind of like covers recorded on my phone on the
Right,
SoundCloud.
Right.
I was playing piano and singing, and then I think I started playing guitar because I could bring it places with me. And then from that, I was actually I was kind of did like a singer-songwriter kind of thing, and I was singing and playing guitar,
Mm.
and started doing it at like some parties and stuff, and then started getting small gigs, open mic nights and that. And then everybody was saying that everyone was saying like there was like a thing at that time where like if you were a dude singing with a guitar, you were like an Ed Sheeran wannabe.
Right.
So, so everyone kind of likened me to the whole Ed Sheeran buzz, and I was like, all right, I have to kind of change something up here. So I changed my name, and I was always into hip hop, but I was never really brave enough to do it. So I just started. I produced a song, I produced a beat, and then just started rapping over it, and it became much more of a kind of a free art form for me to express how I felt with.
Yeah.
You can get away with a lot more in rap than you probably can if you're thinking about melody all the time, or you're thinking about, you know, singer-songwriter kind of stuff, or you're just playing guitar. So it was just a better medium to express myself, and I felt like it suited me better, so I just stuck with it.
Mm. And obviously you're into spoken poetry for anybody who doesn't know, you know, and did that stem from the rapping, or was that the other way around? Like for me, I started writing poetry and then I started rapping. So
Yeah.
For what about you? Did you start the poetry after the rapping? Like there's a lot of similarities between the two, obviously, but I'm just wondering for yourself.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's something I get asked quite a lot actually, because there are a lot of people that do either or, and there aren't that many people that do both. So they are they're like intrinsically similar art forms, but they're also very different. I think I grew up reading poetry in school. Like, used to have like a little school library, and everyone used to go get a book from the school library every week.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always poetry books. It was always like, even poetry books that I was probably too young to be reading. It was like all Edgar Allan Poe and, you know, like real dark kind of menacing stuff. Like, and it was just what I liked. I liked reading along and the rhythm of it. And I guess I never really linked it to the rapping until later on. But
so it's two separate entities for you, really, kind of.
Yeah. And then when I started writing songs, like when I was writing singer-songwriter songs, I loved rap, but like I said, I never did it. But I used to actually write raps to try and help me with my songwriting in general. And yeah, it's just they both took off at the same time. But yeah, I never really linked them until later on.
Nice.
Mhm.
So this is a bit of a different question. Like so a lot of Irish rap at the minute, I feel, is especially when we were coming up, you know, it was kind of aggressive, you know, and
Yeah.
the working class. Like, do you think that rap is good for like the Irish culture and like good for the younger generation?
I do think themes like that should be addressed, and they should be there. You know, like obviously growing up listening to music, we all had the angry music that we listened to, or things that were probably a little bit edgy and a little bit dark. But I think what's great about Irish rap is the fact that it's so diverse, and that it's not all about that anymore, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
yeah. Like I found it hard when I started, because I was almost rapping as someone who wasn't me, because I was always listening to all the kind of hard man rap, and you know, and when I started writing, it was like it just didn't work. So I was like, that's not who I am. So now I rap about being broke and having an anxious mind and being nervous. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, like I think it's just, I think what's great about the Irish rap is that kind of freedom of, you know, of subject matter. Like you can start off from whatever standpoint you want to and take it to wherever you want to, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of the question, I think, I don't know, like I think it is easy to say that a lot of the angrier kind of like drill kind of stuff isn't good for the culture, but I don't know how much you can quantify that really, you know. There's always going to be angry music and violent music.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's just people expressing themselves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mind if I ask a question?
Yeah.
You were talking about you're more like you take influence from some of the more gothic sides of poetry, like Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, stuff like that. And do you think that could have any comparisons to the more like violent and like maybe less socially acceptable lyrics found in rap nowadays?
I think so. I think if you look at how that violent rap is perceived now by the general public, that's probably how that poetry was perceived back when it was popular, when it was first produced, you know. Because people didn't really like Edgar Allan Poe in particular. He'd be like my favorite poet, and his stuff is really dark and really kind of ominous. And I think that would have been a little bit maybe controversial at that time and a bit edgy, because nobody was talking about their feelings and nobody was talking about the deep dark kind of places in their mind. So yeah, I do. I think there's a connection. I think as time goes on, there is always that like that kind of that element of like maybe there's something that you probably shouldn't talk about, but there are artists talking about it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people like that's a good point. So we're all musicians. I think most of us are anyway, and a few of us, I've only done a couple of gigs, and I think a few of us haven't done any. Have you any tips for like someone who's going to perform live for the first time? Because I know you're talking about anxiety, and that's obviously something that affects us all, and that anxiety before you get on stage. I've only done it a couple of times, but I know it's tough. Like, have you any tips for anybody regarding that?
And what I would say is, no matter how hard it is and how hard it feels, just do it. Because, and that sounds really simplistic, but it really is it's a personal journey. And I know for me, like people meet me after gigs and I'm kind of shy and awkward. I don't really know like what to say or how to be around people, but they've seen me on stage and I'm jumping around and like with no top on, going mad and shouting at them, And like I think I'd sit there nervous for like 10-20 minutes before I go on stage, and then as soon as you get on and the music starts and you can see everyone, you're a different animal, you know what I mean? But then that's true for me. That's not true for everyone. Some people find it a lot harder, and it takes a lot of mental preparation to do it. But yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's just the more you do it, the more comfortable you become, and the more you learn.
Would you say like the rehearsing of your raps and the rehearsing of your music, would like the more you rehearse, would that that'd help?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You do preparation is key. And I've been in situations where I've prepared for weeks, but I've still messed up and forgot a couple of words and like have a brain fart on stage. And but yeah, that's like you said, the more it's muscle memory to you, the more you can focus on your actual stage presence, I guess. And
Yeah.
I got.
Go on, sure, Ryan.
I got a question. You mentioned Ed Sheeran comparisons early in your career. How early was your career to be compared to Ed Sheeran? What year did you start and what age?
I don't know how old I am now. 26. I was 16 when I started playing the piano, and then when I actually started gigging, I was probably 19, 20. Oh God, yeah, probably 19, 20, and I can't remember what year it was, but it was around the time Ed Sheeran was coming up, and it was like anyone who was like a guy with a guitar was.
Yeah, would you say like 2010, 2011 then? Because that's when his first album was out, I'd say.
Around that time, but maybe a little bit after. maybe more when he was like rising from that and he was peaking a little bit and he was everywhere, you know.
All right, so 2013, you say?
Yeah, probably around that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my next question. I want to talk about a couple of your songs. So, your song "This Is Ireland," that obviously blew up. That was huge. And in the terms of songwriting, obviously, I know I listen to your music and I follow you on Instagram, and I know you're quite political, you know. And "This Is Ireland" really hit home. Like you really released that at the right time, you know. Just wondering if you could like talk about that a little bit, you know. And
Yeah. That was a song that was just born of um, pure. God, I was just pissed off, like, you know. It was the time of the Summer Hill thing, the evictions, and um, you had all these images of, like, you know, the guards protecting the dudes in balaclavas that were like throwing people out into the street. And I know it was quite a complicated thing politically too, but just a pure, just the idea of it was just something that didn't sit right with me, you know.
yeah,
No matter what the background was. So I actually sat there stewing, and I was really angry. And the people that I was with at the time, the people I was living with, just turned around and they were like, "Oh, why don't you write something?" And it wasn't something that I ever expected to go anywhere or to become anything. I just started writing words. And that song, the way it is now, every word it is, word for word, was exactly what I wrote. And there was nothing changed in the production process. I think I wrote it and then I recorded it. I wrote it in the morning. I started recording it in the afternoon, and I released it in the evening. So it was just pure.
it was
It
absolutely
was pure.
fresh. Like,
It
yeah,
was
yeah,
pure. It was pure anger. You know what I mean? It was pure
yeah.
like, I just need to get this out. And then yeah, it was just the response to it was insane. You
Mm.
know, particularly like kind of in the underground sense. You know, there wasn't a lot of people that were rushing to write about it or review it or anything, but it definitely got its way around.
Yeah, definitely. It was massive. Yeah. Yeah, I remember listening to it myself, and you know, I got fairly pissed off about it too. You know, I think everybody was annoyed about that.
Yeah.
Um, my next question is about "Fever Dream," which is obviously an absolutely huge song. You know, so like, what do you think made that blow up so much? Like, obviously, it's a great song. You know.
Yeah. I think that was that was when I was that was a part of Degradation of Imagination. So
It was, yeah.
it was it was my first, you know, long form project that I really put a lot of work into. We were working on it for about a year before we released it, and then Fever Dream, it got into a couple of playlists on Spotify, and then from that got into a couple more, and then a couple more, and it kind of took off. And you know,
Cool.
yeah, it was a strange one because, you know, it's not a song that a lot of people in Ireland that know of me actually know about. It's not a song that seems in the real world that seems to be like particularly popular, but like if you go look at the stats of it, it's like United States is like the top. So most listeners are in America, and then there's like Germany and Australia, and I think Ireland is like 15th on the list or something.
Really.
So yeah, like that song really actually opened my eyes to a lot of how the industry works, and how, you know, how getting promoting your songs properly and getting them out there and getting them to the right people beforehand can really help, you know.
Hmm. So what was the process of promoting the song then? I know you probably pitched it to a Spotify playlist, and is there anything
Yeah,
else you did?
so the pitch helped. That was the first time I was really taking anything really seriously. So before I was just uploading stuff and just hoping the best, and some of the stuff they did quite good, but this was the first time we sat down and actually made a release plan. So we said, you know, we're gonna make a press release for each single, and then we're gonna make a press release for the album. We're gonna send them to everyone, and we just compiled the biggest contact list we possibly could, and just made sure we sent it to everyone well in time for the
Like, so,
release.
like, for example, who was on the contact list, like radio stations and stuff like that?
Yeah, pretty much any radio station you could name in
Nice.
Ireland or the UK.
How'd you do that? Did you send it through email or?
Yeah, just straight up just going through and collecting as many email addresses as we could.
Nice, man.
Yeah, like a lot of them were duds. You know what I mean? Like you get an email address from someone and it doesn't work, and you might send a press release to like 200 people and you'll get like 40, 50 messages back being like, I no longer occupy this office, or like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. But it was more about just weeding them out and just keeping sending it. And then after release as well, just, you know, hitting people up and maybe like sending them it again and reminding that, you know, that it's been released or whatever. But yeah, it was a lot of it. It was just painstaking, like going through the internet and trying to find as many email addresses and as many publications as we could.
Nice, man. So I think it's my last question anyway. You said, we were chatting a couple of weeks ago and you said you were going to take a different direction with music. I don't know, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I have. So I've been working. I have a couple of rap things to kind of tie up, but I've been working with a heavy metal band. So a band from Drogheda who do kind of like metalcore stuff. Like it's real, like really kind of heavy stuff. And they lost our vocalist, and we kind of linked up through like mutual friends, and I ended up going for a jam with them, and that's what's kind of being born now. So that's kind of what I'm working on. I don't know if I'm gonna, like, with the time that's in it right now, we don't know what's gonna happen. So I don't know if I'm going to completely migrate and forget about the rap stuff, or whether I'm gonna try to keep both alive. But at the minute, yeah, we're just working on that kind of thing. I like to be kind of diverse and try different things, different styles, and you know, I think
definitely one thing I noticed, which is that no two songs are the same, you know. Yeah, thanks for the shout out, by the way, on The Weekend, still my favorite tune, you know.
Nice one.
That was fair play.
Yeah. And I just wanted to talk about your last song, Tea and Bourbons.
All right.
It's that's a whopper tune, man. There's one bar in it. It was like weaving these words until they mean things. Weaving two words together until they mean things. I just really resonated with that. I just wanted to say that to you.
Sound man. Appreciate that.
No worries. Has anybody else got any questions?
A criticism often levied at the Irish like rap scene and stuff like that is that it's very derivative of the British rap scene. And how do you think Irish rappers could differentiate themselves from the British guys?
Well, there is obviously the accent debate, which I'm not sure how much you guys are all kind of into the Irish hip hop scene right now.
I kind of know what people are saying about it, but I don't know.
Yeah. So there's this kind of rift in Irish rap right now, where like a lot of people are using, like, adopting accents, or adopting American accent or British accent. I don't mind it. You know, it's not something that I like would stop listening to someone because of it. Like, there are people that are really annoyed about it. Which, you know, I just think just let people do what they want to do, and if that works, then that's cool. But I think that does add to the, you know, people thinking that it's derivative, because you have somebody who talks like me, you know, like, all right, bud, how are things? And then they're like, oh, I'll spit a few bars for you, and then they're like, oh, blood, fam, and it's like a totally different accent, like, which it's cool, like, but it's I think Irish rappers could probably, a lot of Irish rappers could probably kind of focus on our own sound and our own voice, and how our own accents, like, Irish people can rhyme things that English people can't rhyme, because of the way we speak. We can rhyme things that American people can't rhyme. So we really have the opportunity to make what we do, like, truly different and unique. So I think that should be something that's nurtured more. The flip side of that, though, is that people generally don't want to hear anything new. People that are into British rap want to hear essentially British rap, and they listen to Irish people doing it. So I guess it's just, you know, whatever way it plays out.
Yeah.
I have like two questions. Do you write on your experience, or just whatever pops into your head?
A lot of my stuff, a lot of my music is very personal. I know Degradation of Imagination, I actually had a very personal connection to it, and the subject matter of the project actually changed over the writing process and the recording process. So like it was, a lot of it was really raw, and it was really about what was going on in my life then and there. And then there are other times when I'm just having a bit of fun. I'm just putting words together, and I don't think about it too much. So it kind of depends.
And in regards to your metal band that you said you were looking to connect, is it like hardcore metal where it hurts your throat, or is it just metal music with your vocals?
It's my vocals are much harsher and much more aggressive, which I actually think suits me more. Like I don't know, I think like if you look at This Is Ireland, and then look at like something like Doubt Me or something a lot more chill, like my tone is totally different. Like in This Is Ireland, I'm shouting, I'm angry. A lot of this stuff is, that's what it's like, but it's even a level up from that again. But it is rap. It's I'm spitting bars like, but it did take a lot of practice to like gear my voice box up for it.
I think screaming definitely is a skill that people underappreciate a lot. It takes a lot of talent.
No, for
Parents
sure.
can do it though. Like parents could do it a lot.
Yeah,
Well, like,
I
no,
heard
like,
my mom,
it
yeah.
is, like, I've tried. There's the guys in the band. There's a drummer that actually does the screaming, and there's not that much actually really included in the music, but there's a couple here and there, and I'm still actually trying to get it down. Like I haven't got the I don't know, the knack for it yet, or the hang of it.
Have you tried that technique where you kind of harmonize with your own voice? Because I know that's a big thing in like metal screaming, that they kind of sing two notes at once.
No, I haven't actually. I'm not actually familiar with that. I'll check that
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
In regards to your career, are you assigned to a label or you were an independent artist?
We have worked on like a grassroots label, so it's Off Key Collective. So we're not really a label. We're kind of just a group of artists who help each other with our stuff, you know. We're not really we're not strictly a label, but we release stuff. We release it under like Off Key Records. Yeah. So
does that work on Spotify? You know, because like I know we have to go through like DistroKid and Record Union. So can you release it under Off Key Collective?
We could. We had to upgrade. We had to upgrade because we had more artists. So when it was just me, we couldn't do it, I believe. And then I think we were going through DistroKid, and I think when there was 3 artists, then you could actually write Off Key Records. So some of the music on Spotify has Off Key Records on it, which is kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
All right, is that it?
That's all my questions.
Okay. Well,
You see
I think Gamer wants one. No? Okay.
Do you see a burgeoning new metal scene happening in Dublin?
I don't know. That's actually a really interesting question, and that's why I'm so excited about this stuff, because the guys felt like they weren't getting anywhere in the metal scene. They felt like the metal scene wasn't really like supportive of itself. Or I don't know much about it, so I'm not really.
Music in Ireland is definitely very Fontaine's DC influenced right now, at least on a local circuit.
Yeah, it's a little bit more kind of
It's kind of sucky because Fontaine DC themselves are kind of derivative of the late 70s, early 80s. So we're kind of being derivative of something that's already derivative.
Yeah, that's just music nowadays, isn't it? It's all derivative. There's no shortage of derision. But I do think Ireland could probably do with something a little bit different, you know. And I think for us, we're mixing like the heaviest of heavy metal with hip hop. So I think if we do it right, we could get the best of both scenes, and you know, kind of. I would like to see something springing up. You know, that's maybe a new metal scene or a new, just something that's a little bit different, you know. I think people are the tensions are very high today too, so people probably need a bit more aggressive music. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. Guess we'll see how it goes.
Okay, anybody else?
Where do I sign up for Off Key Records?
All right.
You can-
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just gonna say you could always message us and talk to us, and we're
Actually, Oren just released. Odd Numbers just released a song. It's really, really good, and he actually helped me
Yeah.
out with my song that I just released.
with the boys, and he mixed your last track, didn't he?
Yeah, he did a great. I couldn't believe what he did with it. It was really, really good.
Mm.
So anybody in here that doesn't follow them, go follow them. That's C Higher, Tana Now, Odd Numbers, and the Off Key Collective, and Kilo as well. They're all on Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, everything.
You might just link them into the WhatsApp group because I'll
I
take a
will
look.
indeed.
Sweet.
Okay, thanks, Craig.
No problem. It was a pleasure.
It was.
Yeah,
Fair play.
thanks so much, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All the best.
Well, go on, lads.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
That's all right. No problem.
Bye.
See you later again. All the best.
Bye.
Good luck, man.